Right now in the United States, we are seeing a historic collapse with retail stores underway, guys. In fact, 2025 was the worst year in history for retail store closures. That means it was worse than how it was back in 2008 when the economy was crashing back then. Everyone was freaking out. People were losing money in the stock market. Home prices were falling. Is it exactly the same thing this time around? No. And the crazy thing is, we're seeing all this happening with an elevated real estate market, with an elevated stock market. You know, imagine how things could look if those two things collapse as well, which is on the table right now, especially with how much purchasing power the dollar has been losing due to inflation, due to it potentially maybe losing its reserve currency status of the world, the only thing that keeps Americans rich. Well, let's talk about what's going on here, okay? We saw more than 8,000 stores close in 2025, guys. And even though it's still January, we have already seen dozens of retailers announce more store closures in 2026. Macy's just announced a week ago that they're going to be closing 14 stores across the country. Saks Fifth Avenue also filed for bankruptcy in January, which makes it one of the largest retail failures since the pandemic. And according to a lot of the experts in the retail space, they say that things probably aren't going to look a whole lot better in 2026. They say that a lot of retailers are looking to become more efficient, and this involves closing underperforming stores that are not producing the sales growth or contributing to profits. But they don't mention the underlying factor here that a lot of the reasons these stores are really closing is because people aren't shopping there anymore. People can't afford the merchandise at these stores anymore. In high crime-ridden areas, nobody wants to stand there and wait for every single little thing to be taken out of the plexiglass shelf. You know, that kind of ruins the shopping experience. But a lot of the retail experts are saying this is actually a good thing because this is going to make the retail industry healthier overall as they kind of cut the fat, so to speak. And also not mentioning the fact that cutting that fat means, you know, thousands and thousands of people across the country losing their jobs. One thing they don't mention here is out of all those 8,000 store closures, how many people lost a job, guys? I mean, how many people work at any given retail store? Probably, what, 30, 50, 100, depending on the size of the store? I mean, these are hundreds of thousands of job losses we're talking about here. And part of the issue with retail is they say a lot of brands are kind of competing for the same dollar these days, in the sense that it's really just the richest of the rich that's supporting the American economy right now. And so a lot of brands are looking to cater to that pool of shoppers, which means they also don't really need all of these retail stores anymore. They say another reason that a lot of these stores are closing is due to the sheer amount of choice that people have with retail in general. Like, you can buy the same item at hundreds of different stores, guys. You can choose to buy something at Walmart. You can buy it at maybe some store in the mall, if you still have a mall near you. One retailer, though, that is doing extremely well right now is Walmart. Walmart, on the other hand, is continuing to grow. And they say one of the main reasons for that is obviously they can compete on price more than any other retailer, and they are the largest retailer in the world, even beating Amazon. And they also sell a lot of essential items, leading to customers come in and shopping there frequently. And one of those essential items is groceries, guys. A lot of people shop at Walmart for groceries these days because it's one of the best deals in town. They even are beating Amazon at their own game with when you have Walmart Plus, you can get a lot of things delivered on the fly, you know, within just a couple of hours directly from a Walmart store. You don't even have to lift a finger. It just shows up at your doorstep. And Walmart actually saw their online revenue jump 27% this past year. They increased their grocery stock by over 25%. Target, on the other hand, they saw a 30% drop in their stock price in 2025. Target is just reeling, guys, and really not able to recover from all of their cultural damage, you can put it as, that they kind of walked right into, you know? Target was doing just fine until they had to start joining the woke crew and start doing a bunch of things that nobody wants or makes sense. And they're not able to recover from it so far. Maybe they never will. You know, people don't forget things like that. And unfortunately, in an over-politicized society, those are the things that people seem to care about most these days. And understandably so, when it comes to certain woke behavior that is kind of toxic for society. And also, let's face it, Target doesn't compete with Walmart directly on price. People still find better deals at Walmart's. There's more Walmarts around. Walmart has the 2-hour delivery and Walmart Plus and all of this. And in an economy like we're in today, people want the lowest possible price and the highest amount of convenience. Starbucks also had to close over 400 stores in 2025. They claim that they just have way too many stores, and also, let's face it, nobody wants to spend $8 on a coffee, or really can't, in this environment either. And also, for a long time, you're seeing more and more people shop online. E-commerce generated over $310 billion in sales in the third quarter of 2025, which is about a 2% bump from the prior quarter, and about a 5.1% jump year over year. So that is pretty significant. I'm definitely guilty of this as well, guys. I buy basically everything online now just because, number one, time is the most valuable thing to me. Miami, it's a huge pain in the ass to get to any of the stores around here and deal with traffic. Like, when it's not necessary to do that and I can get all the same stuff delivered to my house for the same price, why? Why go do it? You know, it makes zero sense. If shopping is the highlight of your week and you love going to the stores and just browsing the aisles and seeing what's new and spending more than you planned on, it's great, but it's not for me. But surprisingly enough, the e-commerce sales are still only 15% of all retail sales as of the third quarter of 2025, which means that 85% of the other sales are happening in store, guys, which is very surprising to me for 2025 figures. And that also goes to show you that these 8,000 store closures are going to hurt a lot of communities and a lot of people who rely on going to the store and buying things in person, maybe spending only cash in order to control their spending. That's a big disruption for people like that. 45% of shoppers say they still prefer to shop in person. And they also found out that 37% of shoppers like to have the option to shop both in-store and online, while 19% exclusively prefer digital shopping. Not much of a surprise, but baby boomers have the highest preference for in-store shopping, with 53% saying that they enjoy it. And that makes a lot of sense, right? That's how, they grew up. That's the generation that had to go to the store for everything before online shopping ever existed. And also, a lot of baby boomers are retired. It might be the highlight of your day to go shopping for the day and get out of the house, which I understand. Sitting at home all day in retirement sucks. So getting out, going to the store, seeing some neighbors, talking to people, browsing the shelves is a form of stimulation and excitement. And I can see the appeal if you're in that age bracket. Oh, and by the way, I want to thank Carol for sending me over this story. She always sends me a bunch of stories, and I just wanted to acknowledge that she was the one who sent this over to me and that I appreciate it. Also, last year we saw some stores completely go out of business and disappear forever. That was a part of these 8,200 store closures, guys. Stores like Rite Aid, Joann's Fabric, and Party City, those companies alone accounted for well over 1,000 of these 8,200 store closures, and there are no more of any of those stores. There's no more Rite Aid, no more Joann Fabric, no more Party City. Those places are ancient history. Other retailers that are closing the most stores right now are retail chains like CVS, Claire's, and Torrid. They're in the top 20 for store closures. And out of all those stores that were closed, there was 8,234 stores closed in total in 2025. And there was only 5,252 new stores open, which effectively means we had a net loss of 3,000 stores last year, guys. And you know who opened the most stores in 2025? Dollar General, which also gives you a glimpse into the state of the economy right now. Dollar General is one of those companies that used to be cheap. Everything used to cost $1. That's not the case anymore, but they still offer pretty high value for people looking to stretch their dollars the farthest. And they have been one of these companies that's been picking up a tremendous amount of higher income shoppers as inflation continues to be a problem. Dollar General alone opened 611 new stores in the US, and right behind them, number 2, Dollar Tree at 442 new stores. And the third highest one isn't even really a store. It's like a gas station or convenience store. Circle K, they opened 342 new stores. Aldi opened 225 new stores, and 7-Eleven opened 198. That's the top 5 for store openings, guys. And when you look at the top 5, what do all of those things have in common? Value, right? They all offer value in their own way. Dollar General and Dollar Tree, those places are self-explanatory, offering pretty much the cheapest merchandise you can buy in the United States, right? Circle K, convenience store, gas station type of deal that offers cheap items on the go for people who are busy and headed to work. Aldi, probably the cheapest grocery store in the United States. 7-Eleven, maybe not the cheapest, but definitely convenient. Once again, catering to busy people who are on the go, going to work. The overall trend here is that the businesses that are doing well are the ones that are offering the most bang for the buck and catering to people who are seeking the highest amount of value. That's it. Those are the businesses that are thriving and are opening the most stores. And to prove that point, check this out. Thrift stores are also doing extremely well right now. So many people are bargain hunting right now that the thrift store Goodwill has turned into sort of a barometer for how well the economy is doing. Goodwill is the country's largest thrift store, and they say revenue from its 3,400 stores hit a record high of $7 billion in 2025, which is 7% higher than the year before. According to Goodwill CEO, he says that sales are usually pretty steady year over year, but when the economy's bad and finances are tight, that's when they always see a big uptick, which is not really a surprise, but rather proof of how bad things are right now. He says with inflation and cooling job growth and stubborn costs for rent and groceries, many households are shifting more of their spending to secondhand racks. Also, part of this is due to the fact that it has become somewhat of a trend on social media for young TikTokers and YouTubers to go to Goodwill and try to find bargains and different things that you wouldn't be expecting to find at a low price. Another secondhand store called Savers Value Village also reported a 16% sales increase in the last quarter of 2025. ThredUp, which is an online secondhand store, said that their revenue jumped 34% in 2025. Also, another one of the reasons that these secondhand stores might be seeing a big uptick in sales is because these thrift stores basically are a loophole out of paying all the extra tariffs. You know, somebody already paid the tariff when that original purchase was made, if it was made during the tariffs that we have. And now that that item is in a secondhand store, well, now you don't have to pay that tariff. So that extra cost doesn't get pushed onto you, and a store like Goodwill just wants to make a small profit on that secondhand item and offload it. Also, a lot of people who are in search of high quality clothing items are looking at Goodwill to try to find better made used clothes than the brand new stuff that's made today, guys. Like basically everything you buy today is made to fall apart. Like one great example, this is a small example, but something I can relate to, is I bought new socks. And some of those new socks that I bought just a few months ago already are forming holes in them, whereas other socks that I have had for well over a decade don't have any holes in them. So even in just 10 years, the quality of the way these things are made has dropped substantially. And by the way, today I'm walking on North Bay Island. As you can see, it's a very beautiful winter day here in Miami in a very nice neighborhood. But things are going so well for Goodwill right now that they're looking at opening anywhere between 50 to 100 more stores across North America in 2026. So that's the state of affairs with retail, guys. This retail apocalypse and collapse is happening right before our eyes. How does this get better? You know, tell me how we go from an economy where everything was kind of normal and people were just affording to be able to shop at all these stores, to all these stores closing and people pinching pennies as hard as possible. How do we recover from that? Because one thing we can see from the current economic data is that inflation's probably never going to go away. We're always going to have inflation. We always have. The problem is we had so much of it in the past 5 years that all the damage is done and is basically irreversible unless deflationary policies are put into place, which don't hold your breath for that. So when I read stories like this, I don't think this is just the state of the economy as of 2025. This could be the state of the economy indefinitely. Do I have hope that things could potentially get better in the future? Yeah, sure. But we don't see anything as of now on the horizon that's going to make that a reality. We're definitely not seeing wages go up to the point that they need to help people out. You're not seeing really anything that people need to buy get cheaper. The job market is an absolute disaster, basically the worst job market going back to 2003. So what's going to fix it? I think we are in this very long economic slump that's going to last for years, guys. We might not even start to even see any sort of recovery until at least 2030, maybe beyond. That's what I think, based on what I'm seeing right now. It's my personal opinion. But it's not just my opinion. A lot of other people feel the same way because consumer confidence just tanked to the lowest level since 2014. That's right. According to a survey from the Conference Board, the overall consumer confidence index fell by 9.7 points in January, down from December's reading, and that makes it the lowest since May of 2014. Consumer short-term outlook for income, business, and labor market conditions dropped by 9.5 points to reach 65.1. Typically, when it falls below 80, that signals a recession coming. 65.1 is far below 80, guys. So to me, that doesn't signal a recession's coming. That means we've already been in a recession for a long time. But all the official economic data just doesn't reflect it. You know, the people in charge refuse to acknowledge that, essentially. According to this survey, only 24% of consumers said that jobs were plentiful right now. The number one complaints that people have and why consumer confidence is so low right now is people are saying we have too much inflation, you know, food prices are too high, rent prices are too high. Basically everything we need to buy is costing too much. So how is anybody supposed to feel good? And that's what I was just saying, like, how is any of this supposed to get better, guys? People need to make significantly more money to feel better. And the only way that's going to happen is if you find a way to make it happen. Your job is not going to give you the 30 to 50% raise that you need to see your quality of life jump right now. You will have to find a way to give that raise to yourself. Most of the time, people do it through starting some sort of business and finding a way to turn their current skills into money, right? But that's probably going to be the only realistic way you're going to see that happen. Too many people just sit there and buy lottery tickets and just hope for the best and think, oh, one day when I hit that jackpot, that's when it's all going to change for me. Well, that day pretty much never comes for anyone. But this is a little bit in direct conflict with the most recent University of Michigan's index of consumer sentiment that went up slightly in January. So it's interesting how you have a little bit of a divergence there. But overall, based on a lot of the comments I read on this channel, pretty much everybody's feeling pessimistic about the economy and the future of it. And that's okay. You know, it's okay to have a natural feeling towards something that doesn't show any signs of improving, guys. What are you supposed to feel? Sure, it's good to be hopeful. It's good to be an optimistic type of person. In fact, if you don't really know me that well, that's how I am in real life, you know. When you talk to me about anything in person, that's how I feel. But when it comes to what's going on with our economy and the housing market, I'm a realist. I look at what's really going on. I look at where things are really going, and I accept it for what it is. One thing that I think just doesn't get enough attention is how much this health insurance crisis is really having an effect on people right now, guys. In fact, the health insurance premiums have gone up so much that a lot of people are starting to pay more for health insurance than they're even paying for their mortgage or rent payments, which is completely unsustainable. You can't keep that going and just expect everything to be fine. And they say the people who are affected the most are the ones who are still using Obamacare. And I can totally vouch for that because they wanted to increase my premium by $400 a month. I dropped Obamacare for the first time ever, went to a private health insurance company. I haven't used it yet, so I can't speak of how good it is compared to the insurance I had before, but it is significantly cheaper. And of course, at the core issue of this is that a lot of the subsidies have expired, and anybody who still is receiving a subsidy saw those subsidies go down since they didn't renew the subsidy amount that people were receiving during the pandemic. President Trump recently announced one of his ideas about sending money directly to people to pay for health insurance out of your pocket. Although I don't know how effective that would be, especially if it's not designated for health insurance. Like if you can spend it on anything, I'm sure a lot of people are just going to forego the insurance and use it to buy groceries, or maybe just blow it in some cases, or whatever. People are going to do whatever they want with that money. Here's an example of how much premiums are jumping for people. Here's a married 63-year-old couple in Wyoming with an $85,000 per year income. And they went from paying $0 a month with the subsidy to now paying $3,417 per month, which is nearly half of their pre-tax income. I mean, why these people pay for insurance at this point, I have no idea, guys. In Georgia, you had a family that was earning $120,000 a year see their premiums go from $300 a month up to $3,300 a month, which is higher than their $2,800 a month mortgage. Another couple in West Virginia saw their premiums go from $255 a month to $2,155 per month, which is nearly triple their mortgage payment. Needless to say, many people are just choosing to go uninsured now. And it's so bad, it's to the point where a lot of insurance brokers say that people are crying over the phone, people are yelling at them like it's their fault, or clients saying, I'm just going to go without insurance. And things are already on shaky ground. We've already covered that. Just how thin the ice is for this economy. You know, everybody's trying to do everything they can to save every little bit of money right now. And, you know, one ER visit or one unexpected health scare for people that don't have insurance or are underinsured or don't have great insurance, that's going to be the end. That's going to be a bankruptcy right there. Even people who still get substantial subsidies, people who are paying $650 a month on average for health insurance, are seeing the premiums jump to $720 a month. It's not a huge jump, but it is if you're already on a small budget. And then you also have higher copays and higher deductibles that add to the cost in the background. And at the same time, a lot of people earn too much money to qualify for Medicaid and are also too young for Medicare. So you're either left with paying these exorbitant insurance prices or just going without. Kind of similar to what's going on with homeowners insurance, except you have to have that if you have a mortgage. So I don't know what's going on out there, guys. It is just complete pandemonium. You know, how we got to a point in this country where people are paying more for health insurance than they are a mortgage and still continuing to pay that just kind of blows my mind. But one thing I know for sure is you can't see a scenario like this play out long term. You're not going to see things be this bad forever because too many people are just going to fall through the cracks. Something in this system is going to break at some point with statistics like these. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you don't want to wait for my next video to come out, check out this one on the screen right over here, and I'll see you in the next one.